The first two divisions that went in on Omaha Beach were the 1st and the 29th. And realize when you talk about a two-division front coming in on a beach, that does not mean that all 25,000 are disembarking at that given instant. They're coming in waves, a couple of battalions strong. The first wave was a couple thousand men across the beach about 2 miles wide. Half of them were gone within the first minute.
You guys, we're getting ready to go to the invasion. We're going to be in the third wave. That's what he told us. The third wave. And he said the first wave is on the beach as I speak, and the second wave is going in at noon, and we're the third wave. You guys are going into Omaha Beach on Normandy. That's the first time we had heard the word Omaha. Right now, this afternoon, we're going to get on the troop ships to take us to France. So that was our introduction to the fact that we were going to be in the invasion of France. And we got in there, got our equipment, and they drove us straight to the loading docks. Can you imagine 175,000 men, 30,000 vehicles of every description? The ocean was filled with 6,000 boats. I guess the ship was on its way for a half hour when Eisenhower came on with his speech, telling us that we were joining the most important invasion in history. And the eyes of the world were upon us. And freedom-loving people everywhere were with us. And that made us feel really good. The ship commander said, we're going to be going across 100 miles of open water. And he said, when the engines stop, you will be 12 miles from France. And you'll sit where you're sitting until it's time to go up on deck. And those engines stopped, and we knew we were 12 miles from battle. I said, what in the world? We're going to battle. And the thought crossed my mind that if things were different, the soldiers that we're going to be fighting are our age. And if we could just sit down around a campfire and meet them, we'd be a happy bunch of people. But their government told them to fight us. Our government told us to fight them. That's why we were here. And finally, they asked us to come upstairs, our company, and we went up 3 flights of stairs out on this deck, and there we could see the coast of France. But it was covered with smoke.
When we landed in Normandy, you couldn't believe it, because I mean, you never had that happen before, you know. And you learn how to preserve yourself the best you could. We left on a ship, you know. When the ship got out to just not too far from where we're going to be, you transferred over to it was a fast boat, and it went like a bat. And when it hit the beach, the front end opened up, and we ran out. And you either go and you keep going, or you get killed.
It became a standard line later of, are we going to die here, or are we going to die going forward? They all assumed they were dead men.
Just before we went down the rope ladder, at the edge of the ship, the captain handed us a little package. Said, stick this under your shirt. This is a body bag in case you get killed. The grave registration won't have to look for a body bag. It's already on you. Starting down the rope ladder, I was so short my feet wouldn't hit the rungs of the ladder. So I had to go down the side until my feet hit, and on to, I think it was about 2 stories high. We went down this rope ladder, and the guy just before me, I was watching, and he dropped off the rope ladder at the same time the Higgins boat swung out into the ocean, and he hit between the ship and the Higgins boat, went straight down. Never saw him again. And so they stopped dropping off, and the guys in the Higgins boat pulled the ladder over into the Higgins boat, so that when we got to the bottom, we let loose and we hit on the bottom, the floor of the Higgins boat. That's when I realized that it was covered with vomit. We discovered when we got in the Higgins boat that it was made out of plywood. All these Higgins boats were plywood. The only metal on them was the ramp that went down. We thought, going to all of this battle with a plywood boat. When 36 men got in it, the Higgins boat went out and joined the other Higgins boats in this big circle, just going around. And when finally all of our company got in the Higgins boats, they shot up a violet-colored signal, and everybody went to, all the boats started to the beach. The more intense things became, like going into the beach on this Higgins boat, our fear turned into raw courage. On the way to the beach, our Higgins boat hit a sandbar, and the coxswains were told, when you hear shh like that, you'll know your bottom of your boat is on the beach and you can let the ramp down. And so he heard that, all of us heard it, and he said, okay, ramp going down. And the captain that was right with us, 3 feet from me, he pulled out his pistol. He said, I'll be damned if we're going to stop right now. You back this thing up, and we're going to hit that sandbar wide open and go further toward the beach. Because on the other side of the sandbar, it was quite deep. So he said, yes, sir, whatever you say. I remember that conversation. And he backed it up and floorboarded that thing, and it hit the sandbar and went through it, and we went about 50 more yards toward the beach. As it was, when the ramp went down, we were maybe 100 yards from the beach. Just as we were ready to get into to let the ramp go down, a German 88 bullet, which is about 36 inches long, hit the Higgins boat next to us and totally blew it up. We could see bodies and pieces of the boat going up, and in just minutes, it all went down, everything. The ocean, 5-foot waves were coming in. They were bringing bodies in and taking bodies out. They were just like this. We were told that the beach would be full of holes, that when we got there, we could have holes to get in to protect us. There was not one hole on our beach. When I got out of the water up on the beach, I looked around and I said, this is France. What in the world am I doing here? That was my thought. And then I thought, you're here because 175,000 men are here believing that they can overcome this wickedness that's going on, and that's our job.
The amazing moment of that fight is, yes, they did stand up. They did go forward. And we kept coming in wave after wave after wave until we took that damn beach.